If you are someone that is looking to get the law of attraction to work in your favor so that you can create the reality that you desire, or even if you're someone that is not yet completely convinced that the law of attraction actually even works, stick around because in this video I'll be sharing with you what the law of attraction really is, how it actually works, and how you can use it to get what you want. What is up, Ascenders? Bryan Henry here, founder of Together We Ascend. Welcome back, Ascenders, and for those of you that are new to my channel, welcome. On this channel, I create videos to help you awaken to your truth, align with your purpose, actualize your visions, and amplify your impact. So if you are looking to do 1, 2, 3, or all 4 of those things, be sure to hit that subscribe button below. But if you are ready to get started with the video, let's jump in. So the first thing that we have to do is put a definition to it because we all need to be on the same page. So the law of attraction states that like attracts like, and that's in the most general sense. Now a little bit more specific to the context of creating the reality that you desire, the law of attraction describes this idea that the thoughts that reside in your mind can somehow attract the external circumstances that correspond to them. So at the center of law of attraction ways of thinking is this idea that positive thinking around your desires, for example, believing and feeling confident that you will someday fulfill those desires, will lead into those desires being manifested. Whereas negative thinking around those desires, fearful, stressful, and anxious thoughts, that will lead into you continuing to experience the lack of those desires being fulfilled. Now, where opinions around the law of attraction really start to diverge and people start to get confused and uncertain is when the topic starts to get into the field of metaphysics. See, there is this idea around the law of attraction that speaks to this energetic connection that our thoughts have with our external reality. And it's through that connection that our thoughts are able to powerfully influence the external world. So I know that the predominant mindset is, I gotta see it to believe it. Keeping this in mind, I've decided that I will bring our conversation to science. Because believe it or not, there is plenty of scientific evidence that is supporting many of the ideas that the law of attraction gets based around. Perhaps the most commonly cited one is the quantum double-slit experiment. Now, if you want to get into the specifics of how that experiment was conducted and what the physicists specifically observed, rather than hear me explain it, there is a far better way to learn about it. There's a great animated video that was featured in the movie What the Bleep Do You Know? Do We Know? Do We Know? I think it was Do We Know? What the Bleep Do We Know? And I will put the link to that video down below. It's on YouTube. It's a great little video that explains this. But I do want to get into what the physicists discovered in this experiment because it's actually pretty mind-blowing. So the first thing that you have to understand is that at the deepest fundamental layer, what quantum physicists have observed and share with us is that the deeper you go into the innermost workings of an atom, the more that you'll see, and the more I guess you won't see, the more that you'll notice there's nothing physical really even there. Rather, what exists is these invisible vortices of what we call energy. Now, in the quantum double-slit experiment, what the physicists discovered was this energy that makes up everything in our universe. It is the fundamental substance of all that is. This energy exists in a state of potentiality prior to being observed. Meaning, before we place our observation on this energy that once again makes up everything that we call matter, before we observe it, it doesn't yet settle into one simple form. It's when we place our observation on this energy does it settle into what we perceive as matter. A great interpretation of this made by astrophysicist R.C. Henry goes as such. As observers, we are personally involved with the creation of our own reality. Physicists are being forced to admit that the universe is a mental construction. Pioneering physicist Sir James Jeans wrote, "The stream of knowledge is heading towards a non-mechanical reality. The universe begins to look more like a great thought than a great machine." This discovery in the quantum double-slit experiment is pointing us back to a notion that was once only found in spirituality, and it's the understanding that consciousness is fundamental to reality, meaning reality as we perceive it is created by our minds. Another great experiment that speaks to the way in which our thought can influence our external reality is the research that Dr. Masaru Emoto did on water crystals. See, what Dr. Emoto did was he started observing different samples of water under a microscope. He started with waters that was distant from development, from society, as well as observing tap water and water that was within or near development. And what he found was that the water crystals that were found in those serene, undisturbed bodies of water had a more aesthetically pleasing, symmetrical, and beautiful shape to them, whereas the water from the tap water and such was more disfigured. This led into him and his team starting to place the water under different conditions and then observing it under the microscope. They played music to the water, they showed it different pictures, and they said different words to it. His findings, as you likely would have predicted, was once again mind-blowing stuff, because tell you what, I'm going to throw up some pictures for you of the different water crystals that he observed when he said positive and kind words to it, such as love, harmony, peace. Now compare those pretty beautiful water crystals with the ones that were told, "You fool," and "You disgust me." I don't think much needs to be said having seen those images. In this study, we have seen what our words and intentions can really do. I have to say it because it's such a thoughtful quote, but in the movie What the Bleep Do We Know, one of the characters said,
"Makes you wonder, doesn't it? If thoughts can do that to water, imagine what our thoughts can do to us."
It really makes you think when you start to consider that we are about 70% water, I think it is, at least 70%. Something to keep in mind. And I do have to mention that this study was repeated by the very credible American researcher Dean Radin. Similar results have been found. Our thoughts and intention can influence our physical reality. Now, there are a ton of other different experiments that show this relationship between the mind and the external world. Rather than go through all of them, I thought I would give you some resources. If you want to learn about more of them, I will put some links down below for those of you that want to dig a little bit deeper. Now, let's get into how the hell can we explain any of this? I brought forth the science. Now is when I get into my understanding that has come from studying many different spiritual teachers, as well as my own spiritual introspection, as well as my own personal experience. I have seen the ways in which the mind in my own life can influence the physical world, and that kind of probably is going to be a story for another day. But I do want you guys to know that relationship and that connection that I talked about earlier, our thoughts having energetic connection with our world, it exists. It's very much true, but it is also very misunderstood. So let's get into a little bit of a deeper understanding of what is really going on here so that you can begin leveraging the law of attraction. So I have 3 big points to make here. Point number 1 is this. You may have heard this before. Everything is energy. That applies to this floor, that applies to my body, applies to your body, but more abstractly, it also applies to our thoughts. Now, I can see how that might sound a little bit too out there at first, But consider the fact that when you think a thought, your brain sends electrical impulse charges throughout it. Now, I'm not going to speak too much more about this because with time you will start to discover this for yourself, but this is the very reason why our thoughts can influence our physical world as seen in those experiments that I mentioned. Now, this energy that makes up all that is, it exists in a state of vibration, and the rate of vibration of a body of energy is called its energetic frequency. And it's the energetic frequency of something that dictates how it expresses itself and how it influences other bodies of energy. Which means the reason why a wall ends up being a wall and my body ends up being my body is because of our energetic frequency. Big point number 2. Consciousness is fundamental to reality. We saw this in the quantum double-slit experiment. Creation and the experience of reality is this sort of inward unfolding process of consciousness itself. This is consciousness experiencing itself. And the more you begin to connect to consciousness being that which is fundamental, the more that you'll see and move into the potential you have to shape your reality. Because point number 3 is you are a co-creator. Your truest essence is that you are pure consciousness. And being that consciousness is the governor and creator of reality, you can begin to understand that in your state of consciousness, you are co-creating this reality that we experience together, and more specifically, you are creating the reality that you are experiencing. So now that we have those 3 big points, let's put the pieces of the puzzle together to understand how you can leverage the law of attraction. So it'll help to think of the law of attraction as the law of reflection. See, the way in which our experience unfolds, the center of it all, is our universe's nature of reflecting our internal state in our external experience. There's a quote that I absolutely love coming back to, and it's that our outer world is a reflection of our inner world. And this is true in the deepest sense possible. What is going on in our internal energetic state gets reflected in the reality that we experience. And so in order to leverage the law of attraction, what we must begin to understand is how can we shift our energetic states, shift our energetic frequency to line up with the experience that we wish to have and with manifesting our desires. So what you have to understand here is that your energetic state is largely a function of your mental state and your emotional state, meaning your thoughts and your emotions. And so the key to leveraging the law of attraction is learning how to, through intention, direct your mental energy so that you're able to shift your mental and perhaps more importantly, your emotional state so that your energetic frequency rises and your energetic state shifts towards moving closer to alignment with the external reality that you wish to experience, so that when your external circumstances, as it always does, reflects what's going on internally, you experience the reality that you desire. So that's really it, guys. It's about setting what I like to call your mental and emotional coordinates, that destination point of what it is that you wish to experience, the emotions that you wish to experience, and that sort of mindset that you wish to experience. And then through intention, bringing that experience into the now. And in this, you'll see that your reality will start to reflect that. And this will move you towards what it is that you want. Now, I did want to give you guys an actionable and practical strategy so that you can put this into practice and begin getting the law of attraction to work in your favor. But I did also want to keep this video at a decent length. I'm not exactly sure how long it's going to be yet, so I've decided that I will keep the explanation that I've provided you up until this point as is. But I'm also going to be posting another video in which I'll be going over a 5-step manifestation technique that will walk you through specific steps through this process of shifting your energetic state and raising your energetic frequency to line up with the reality you wish to experience so that you can manifest your desires. So definitely be sure to go check out that video, because that's where you really start to begin putting this into practice, and that's where the law of attraction really begins to start working for you. Well, Ascenders, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Once again, if you're not yet subscribed, the red button's right down there. You know what to do. Until the next video, Ascenders, keep ascending.